Good morning. We had 2 hard frosts, so most everything is dying or hit with the frost out in the raised bed gardens this past week. So I've got cleanup to do. The greenhouse, we had taped the sides. We need to get some boards for putting around the corners here. You can see. Like we did last year. We've got another couple of hard frosts this week, so I'm gonna go in and pick a bunch. So got my basket with clothespins marking all the different types of peppers. I've got gloves to put on to pick them all in there. But this is it's sad, end of season. You can see I had the frost cloth on for the lettuce. That seemed to work well. Lettuce and the golden beets are doing fine out here. Got some parsley still doing fine. I'm surprised. This is an osteospermum African daisy. It's actually doing okay still. I would have expected that to get hit more. You can see the flowers did. The alyssum is still doing well. It's alyssum I started from seed. I think San Diego Seed Company, the ones that Kevin from Epic Gardening sent after we bought the Birdie's raised beds from him. Let's see, parsley is doing fine, but the zinnias didn't make it through. Cosmos, beets are doing fine. Got more beets over here, more lettuce. The romaine did actually okay without cover. More parsley. Might even be some cilantro in there. The asparagus has gone pure yellow. Here we've got carrots and beets. And this is the lettuce that got hit that first frost really badly. Now you can actually really see the damage. So I can actually cut this back if I wanted to and try to let it keep growing. But I'm not going to cover this bed, so it's not worth it. I'll probably just end up pulling. Especially since I have lettuce now in the greenhouse. So I won't worry. I'll keep that the one bed over there with the hoops. I'll keep that one covered this week. These are the pelleted carrots that I did, and you can see the spacing is really nice on these, because you can actually see the seeds when you're putting them down. These carrots got put in a lot later than these carrots over here. Of course, we've had a week straight of rain, so it's kind of nasty over here, but they're all pushed over. And I haven't thinned these out very well, as you can tell. But they are so much further behind the pelleted carrot seeds that I got. I think I got these from Johnny Seeds. But I'm excited. Usually after a couple frosts, when we have a hard freeze too, they'll get even sweeter and better. But you can kind of see these ones I've started thinning out a little bit, but they're a bit of a mess. And there are some decent carrots in here. There are different varieties, so I should also specify that. So it's not a true like for like comparison. But the one on the left was planted probably 2 or 3 weeks ahead of the one on the right. That's a big difference. I do have a few monsters in this bed. Carrots, I can try to show you guys. Find 1 or 2. They're really fat. I'm kind of surprised they're so short, being that they all of the soil was loose and fresh So I was thinking I would get the long carrots, but I didn't, which is unfortunate. And some of these varieties are supposed to be. You can see this is a little green, so that means the sunlight hit it a little bit higher. So I probably should have gone through and made sure it covered. These are the cayennes I need to pull out here. Oh, it looks like I missed one there. A couple on that plant when I was taking them all out the other day. I've got a lot of cleanup to do. The beans got hit pretty hard, so they're pretty much done at this point. Looks like the peppers are actually okay that I left out here, so I can harvest those, but the plants are done, so I'll pick those today. And then the tomato is done, which is sad, but not sure the fruit will be worth saving at this point since it got hit. We're so close to getting another big beef harvest out here, but not the end of the world. We do still have the ones in the greenhouse. All right, so I was thinning the carrots out. I have about 4 different types, and look at the varieties that I have. So we've only had 2 or 3 frosts so far. These are the pelleted ones. I believe these are the Napolis, and then there's a bunch of others between this bed and that whole long line. But I'm pretty excited about how they look. We're gonna have a big salad today. I'm gonna eat these for snacks during the week, as well as we use them for dog treats, so this will be a good bunch. But most of the carrots we won't pick until we're actually using, until there's actually been a freeze, so that the sugars get really good. So pretty excited about that, but it's a decent harvest. So this is the mulch pile from the 2 trees that we took down, ash and black cherry. And here's where the perennial flower bed is going to go, which I think will be really nice. There's a huge puddle here. Looks like some of the cardboard moved, and I am sinking into the ground. So just loosely removed, it's not really sod, but some of the weeds, and put cardboard down in the compost, and then we're going to put a mulch edge around this whole thing. Eventually we'll continue it up to the end of the stone wall, and try to get rid of this stump. But I've got crocuses, daffodils, irises, some really fun bearded irises, a few specialty lilies, I think. I'm gonna try to put some peonies in here, and a few other things, and I should be able to see it from the porch, just over the stone wall in theory. But this is the southern exposure. That's east, and then directly back there is south, and then west. So that'll be good to have a perennial garden on here. I grew up doing that, so I'll enjoy that. Over here, we've got to pull the rest of the sunflowers that have all been eaten. Pull the rest of the corn, and then we're going to be making market rows, or just large 3-foot wide garden rows. Probably going east to west this way, I think, for the garlic and onions. And so I think we're going to do 4 rows that are 3 feet wide. We may extend this garden out to about where that post is, so we can still drive the tractor between here, and give us a little bit more room. The goal is we have about maybe 6.5-7 pounds of garlic that we need to plant in the next few weeks. But again, it's way too wet to do that. So And it's not even been that cold yet, so just have to do it before the ground is completely frozen. So this will get divided up. There'll be mulch in the aged mulch, not this mulch over here, but aged mulch in between the rows. The back half here will be corn again for this next year. So we want to prepare this bed. We're going to throw a bunch of compost down on this. And we may tarp it for the winter. I'm not sure yet. And we may even do a light till before we do that, but we'll see. And put some nutrients in here. With one of the big things, or there was two big problems with this corn garden this year. One was the lack of sunlight, which by removing these two trees has really opened this up. And the other was nutrients and the fact that it was hard soil, because we only put compost right on the rows, and we didn't do a lot of it for our first year because we figured with the shade anyways. So this next year our corn should be much better. As you can see, some of the corn height over here was only like 6 or 7 feet, whereas the stalks over there were about 14 to 15 feet. It's about 60 degrees in the greenhouse at the moment, about 50 something outside. So here's the lettuce that I transplanted. You can see it had gotten hit by some of the frost before. But I'm gonna pick these Thai chilies and a bunch of these peppers, and try to get rid of these pots. Garlic is gonna be going in this bed again, like we did last year, so I need to actually fill it back up with some good healthy compost and fertilizer. We've got golden and yellow Thais, Tabascos, a bunch of peri-peris, some super chilies. You can see the tomatoes there. There's a bunch of tomatoes up here. We've got death spiral here. And the next one up is a reaper. 7-pot primo. Reaper, death spiral in the back there. And this Tabasco is getting so heavy it is falling over. Here's the peri-peris. These are peach Scotch bonnets that our shape is changing with the end of the season as the plant keeps going. That's funny. They look very different than what they did. There's some habaneros back there. I think I picked already though. These are the ghosts. There's a bunch over by the wall there. Some more Thais. More ghosts there. More Thais here. These are more peach Scotch bonnets. This one looks like the frost got it, being at the edge of the window. 7-pot primos. Some fatales. We've got primatales. We've got a lot of primatales. That's kind of scary. They look really, really mean. 7-pot lava. There's let's see, 7-pot primo, 7-pot lava. There's another ghost in the back there. There's a sugar rush peach here. These are the unripe ones. Ripe is kind of like this really light peach coloring here. I think that's all. My vermicompost bin is in the middle down there. It's settled down a lot because I haven't been able to feed it with these there, so the worms would have just exited through the holes into the rest of the bed, which is absolutely fine. But there's a lot of peppers in here to pick, being that it's October 31st. Last year on today or tomorrow, somewhere around the 1st of November is when we closed up the whole greenhouse. And by at that point, the peppers were maybe this tall, maybe 2-3 feet tall, not 4 or 5 feet plus tall. Some of these are taller than me, and I'm 5'5". So that's kind of crazy to think about. This year also was a big difference, was that we started about all but 3 or 4 of these pepper plants I started from seed this year in the basement, which is a little bit different. But really happy with our success here. You can see I stopped fertilizing these probably about 6 weeks ago, and definitely can tell. They're short on things. They're short on light. They're short on a bunch of things. Last year we actually did put some grow lights hanging on the beams up here to help keep the growth going. We had blankets over them because it was a much colder fall. So this is kind of a big treat, being able to keep the season going this much. So I've got some work to do. I'm going to try to pick as much as I can right now, and then probably try to get another Thai cayenne hot sauce going. I got to smoke some more cayennes on the barbecue, which will be great. But these death spirals are just crazy looking, aren't they? The shape and the texture that they get. Some of the guys on the forums were posting that some of these look like cranky old men with the noses and the big long chins, which I thought was pretty funny. So this is the heater we're using. So we've got extension cords out there, but it is on a trippable GFC, whatever it's called, outlet, for safety reasons. So it's pretty good. Oh, I didn't even show you the grape tomato in the back is still going strong too. All right, so I trimmed back a bunch of the greens on the super hot side just to get as much light onto the fruit as possible to help ripen them. Hopefully that works. I didn't want to cut back too much because actually having the leaves also protects the fruit if it does get really cold in here. So I did quite a bit. Here you can see the death spirals a lot better. I've already picked through all the ripe. We've got reapers in the back there. Reaper up here in the front with a 7-pot Primo kind of mixed in here. And then 7-pot Lava and the Primatalis. I didn't get to that back corner one very well, but I think most of those are just barely underripe. The Vitalis are pretty much done. There's a couple left there. Here's a 7-pot Primo. I didn't trim back, but it kind of just didn't have as much nutrients, and I haven't been fertilizing these in a while. Here's the grape tomato. Still doing pretty good. I picked quite a bit the other day. I think I have about 2 pints in the fridge right now. I did get to the ghost. I didn't trim back this side. This is the east side. I don't actually need to on this side because we've gotten a lot of ghosts, a ton. I just picked over 2 pints, probably 2.5 pints maybe. The peach scotch bonnets I picked, the golden ties I picked. I did not pick the peri-peris here, which I really need to do, and the Tabasco, which I also really need to do, but that will have to wait. And then over here, what I might do is I might move some of these pots up to the porch so that they can get picked throughout the week instead. And then I need to, this is the last one I need to trim really quick. I need to, this is a tie that we got at the farmer's market from a local grower. So that I need to do. This is not all the peppers. I actually brought the basket inside and then came back out. There's a couple primatales that are so crazy looking. They just look really mean. They're a cross between, this was a funny one. It's all from the same plant or same seeds. They are a cross between a 7-pot primo and a fatale. So it's interesting. Here's some of the ghosts that I picked. Some of them are already inside. And then here's a 7-pot lava that I picked. But there's a bunch of peppers that I brought in already. So pretty good harvest here. More than really what we need. So I am gonna clean up in here a little bit more, and then I may actually water in here today and go from there. Here's a look of most of the harvest we got reapers, peach scotch bonnets, 7-pot primo. I think that might be a death spiral that fell off that was green. Here's the primatales. Fatales, some ties there. These are golden or yellow ties, and then the mini ties. Here's a death spiral, habaneros. These are both ghosts. Guajillos, jalapenos, 7-pot lava. I think that's everything. Pretty decent harvest yesterday. Not sure how much more we'll get before the frost gets the greenhouse.